On September 16, 1862, Major General George McClellan confronted Lee's Army of Northern Virginia at Sharpsburg, Maryland. Antietam actually began at dawn on September 17th. Hooker's troops mounted a powerful assault on Lee's left flank, and that single move marked the point that became the single bloodiest day in American military history. Ultimately, 1/4 of the entire army for Lee died over the next 2 days. And by the numbers, 20% more would die for McClellan, but his forces were larger in number. Attacks and counterattacks swept across Miller's cornfield, and the fighting swirled around from the Dunker Church to where the Union assaults were ultimately made against the army at Sunken Road. Forces eventually pierced the Confederate centers of the forces, but the army could not follow that attack and were not able to support the forces that actually broke through. Late in the day, General Burnside's forces began to fight in their attack. They crossed the stone bridge over Antietam Creek, and that move allowed him to roll up the side of the Confederate Army's right flank. At the critical moment, General Hill's division arrived from Harper's Ferry, and they counterattacked and were able to drive back Burnside, a move that ultimately saved the day. Although outnumbered 2-1, Lee committed his entire force, and McClellan did not. McClellan sent in less than 3/4 of his entire army, and that enabled Lee to fight them to a standstill. During the night, both armies consolidated their lines, and in spite of crippling casualties, Lee continued to make skirmishes with McClellan throughout the 18th, all day. Lee would fight in one area while removing his wounded south of the river, and McClellan did not renew the assaults. He was just exhausted by the moves that Lee had made, and after dark, Lee ordered the battered Army of Northern Virginia to withdraw across the Potomac and into the Shenandoah Valley. By the numbers, it was inconclusive, but by the standards of the day, it was a victory for the Union, only because Lee had left the field. It was all that President Lincoln needed, and it was declared a victory. But it was a bloody victory at that.